Has anybody else noticed that it seems to be dropping quite cold at night? We've certainly noticed a change just over the last few days, and obviously as a result of that, growth is starting to slow down just a little bit. Although the odd plant seems to have burst into life over the last few days, but it's not a vegetable. I'll show you what it is. Well, this is one of those plants that I'm talking about, Allotment, and it's putting on lots and lots of fresh flowers. You can't believe how tall these plants get. But what an amazing sight at a time of year where vegetable growth starts to slow down. We've also got extra growth in this little flower bed. Really nice display of little yellow flowers. We've also got some dianthus, or otherwise known as pinks to some people. There's the flowers right there. These fully flowered during late spring. So now we've chopped the entire thing back, and that's going to produce even more flowers through autumn. And all these plants are doing really well. This is a little shrub that we put in about 2 years ago. Look how much growth that's put on. And of course, this is a patio dwarf pear tree. Looks like these pears are getting ready. We've got a few on there as well. But that tree was actually quite small when we put that in there. And now we're having to support it because it's branching out all over. And we're getting ourselves ready for a nice little harvest of pears. These have also just come into flower. Really nice looking plants. And we've got a few more over here. They're all perennials, so they just come back bigger and better every single year. Those are those blue bedders that we were growing from seed. And strangely enough, one has decided to produce white flowers, which is quite unusual. Then there's this castor oil plant as well. So there's one or two plants on this border that are doing alright. And everything in these beds is now putting on new growth. We've got some amazing colour in here. That's what's good about perennial plants. You plant them once and then you don't have to touch them again. They'll just keep coming back season after season, bigger and better. But that's the one I was talking about. Look at the growth on this. Absolutely amazing display of colour. Beautiful plant. And again, this was a plant that we bought in a 9cm pot about 2 years ago. And look at the size of that now. And we've got a little bit of salvia next to it. It's still flowering. A few flowers are dying back now. But once again, perennials. Makes for a lovely display of colour at this time of year. And so do these as well. And this one is particularly attractive as well. And I think it's a passion fruit. Beautiful plants that we're letting grow all the way along this fence. The sweet peas are coming to an end now, but that also leads to these pods starting to dry out, and then we can save them and get seeds for next year for free. But that makes a nice little seating area for us when it is a sunny evening, like it were last night. We could just sit there after spending all day yesterday cutting this grass, which can be a bit of a challenge, but once you've done it, it's just really nice to be able to sit down and relax, surrounded by all that amazing colour. There's some that I put in as well, and I bought them from a little supermarket shop, again 2 to 3 years ago, and they were about 14 inches tall. But look at them now, grown really nice, and they've created a border for us so we can separate this flowered seating area from the part that we use for growing all those vegetables. Talking of which, those peas have now finished, so I've took them all down. I'll leave the canes up and we'll use them again early next year, but the plants have been took out. But behind them we've also got loads of this Lychnis that's still in flower, and we put them all the way down that border, so we've got a display of colour as well as vegetables, and obviously that's going to attract pollinators. It looks like the wind has got up through night and it's loosened off this net, which I definitely don't want, because we've got all those brassicas in there. Last thing I need is butterflies getting on them at this time of year. So we'll get that secured down, protect those cabbages. But it does look like we've got a little bit of an harvest to do, the tomatoes again. And those are those sweet millions that we put outside, and they've done really well, but you'll notice they've not grown as tall as the ones in greenhouse, but they've still grown, they've still produced plenty of fruit for us, and they've not finished yet, and they're still trying to make more tomatoes. There's a little one just there. So these plants I'll just leave until frost eventually kills them back, because whatever they're fruiting, we might as well let them keep going and keep getting as many batches of sauce made up for the freezer as we can. And right over there you'll see this tiny little tomato trying to grow. So for tomato plants outdoor all year, especially this year, they have done really well. I can't fault them. And in beer garden area, you've seen this T-Rex before, but if you saw any earlier videos, you'll have seen how big that plant were when I put it in, and it was nowhere near that size. It was in a container, but now it's reached top of that fence. And then again next to it we've got another one of those amazing plants. Absolutely beautiful plants they are. I've also let this ivy grow all the way along this fence. Keep just pulling it over so it creates a really nice effect, which is going to be a really nice background for these flowers. And we will be planting more flowers as well next year. But just down there also we've got these, and that's a little perennial flowering plant called Veronica. Tiny little flowers, but amazing. And even though they're very small plants, they always come back. So again, that creates a nice little seating area for us. We've got his homemade barbecue, and in there we've got all those onions that are drying out. These are now ready to be tied up, and they'll keep us in onions for quite a few months. And in this compost bin, which we've been filling up since we've been cutting all the grass over the last day or so, we've still got that volunteer potato plant which I've just left. So I'm just wondering if we might get a nice little harvest of potatoes straight out of his compost pile. It's worth leaving just to see. Yesterday was quite a busy day when it comes to doing that bit of a clean up, getting all the grass cut back, loads of weeding in all beds, and just plant maintenance in general, which needs to be done. When we planted this T-Rex plant, I noticed there was what they call a pup growing outside of it, a little tiny T-Rex that had sprouted from main mother plant. So I basically took that out. We have got a video showing you that. I separated it and I potted it on, and it was only a tiny little thing. I'll show you that now. This is that little T-Rex that we propagated, and it's grown so well in this little pot. It'll stay in there now for the rest of the year, but I'll move that on come early spring, because that was about 6 inches in height when I put it in there. And I'd say it's done its mother proud. Amazing little plants. If you want to see that propagation video that we did from this T-Rex when it was still in quite a small container, we have got that on channel. But it was well worth effort, because these are not cheap plants to buy. So every time we get a chance to propagate one, we will do. And then eventually we'll end up with his own little miniature jungle. This is a plant we got quite recently actually, and it's grown really fast. And again, beautiful plant. And there's rhubarb still going as well, and it looks like we've got a bit of a picking to take from this, so we'll get that sorted out at some point today, because we can batch freeze rhubarb as well, save it for another day. Thank you very much to Kevin Jarman for that monthly coffee that you've been doing all year. Thank you very much for that, Kevin, and I really appreciate your continued support throughout year. So yeah, it is getting a little bit cooler now. It's inevitable as we approach autumn, but we've still got plenty of harvest to go out. We've still got loads and loads of tomatoes, which I'll be working on this afternoon. All those cabbages are doing really well, along with lettuces, spring onions and carrots, all the cold hardy stuff that we're growing. And we can still plant more. We don't need to stop at this time of year. I'm going to be sowing some more seeds this week to get more batches of vegetables growing to replace ones that will be becoming exhausted soon. And we'll just keep that process going as long as possible. But while at the same time, as the vegetables might be slowing down, we've got these amazing displays of colour from all these perennial flowers, and they just get bigger and more attractive every single year. So there's always something to look at in your garden, even if there's not always something to harvest, when you mix up vegetables with flowers. If you're not already part of the channel and you want to see what we're going to be growing through autumn and winter, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. You all take care.